Ailish, thank you so much for bringing me to your favourite bar, Caldwell's, somewhere between Dublin and Galway.
Somewhere between Dublin and Galway is absolutely right. More described as, between two provincial towns on the back road probably is the best description, and a real quintessential Irish rural pub. You could not get more quintessential than Caldwell's.
You said Irish there with the O.
Did I? Oh,
you did. You sounded like you were buying into the whole pedigree and nationality of the location. So I'm impressed with that. Well done.
Thank you. So it is, like, as I say, it is, my local. It's the local pub to me. I'm not a huge drinker. I wouldn't be in it 5 nights a week or anything like that. But it is very, but you gotta support your own. You gotta support local, buy local. Yeah. It is the typical setup of an Irish. I wouldn't call it a town. A road.
A road. So it's a road, and
a village. Is it a village? I guess it's a village. Yeah. So let's say we have Caldwell's, we have the church, we have the GAA grounds, and we have our local shop. Oh, and a graveyard, and the school, and that is, the setup, and even more so, the Caldwell's has, the family home is attached to the pub as well, and it's family run for God knows how long.
So, back in the day, not too long ago, you would go there to do your bet on the horses. You'd probably get your half pound of tea and all that type of stuff, would you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think, yeah. There was a little shop nook, I think, as well. Yeah, you could have got your.
They used. Yeah, there was no reason to leave.
Yeah.
Look at Johnny there in the background. See,
yeah.
John.
Neighbor
John. Yeah.
Yeah. As you said, like, what is he looking at? Like, is he?
Oh, I'm trying to.
Admiring the artifacts on the wall.
Well, you see, that's probably part of the whole vibe of the place. Those people up there on the wall could very well be ashes of his mates in urns. This is all possible in an Irish bar.
There's no ashes. You're buried, Gary. If you're Irish, you're buried.
Okay, that's fair enough.
No, I'm thinking it's like, artifact, like my mug. Yeah, I think this fits in well with our theme as well. Like
it does. This is the only non-authentic thing about our whole session. There's no way you're drinking out of that and I'm drinking out of this, and we're in Cowles. So, listen, there's a massive electrical storm. Cowles is in the beam, and everything's wiped out except 3 apps on your phone.
Yeah. So 3 apps. First of all,
3.
Netflix, right? And not because I'm a huge movie aficionado, right? Well, probably because you wouldn't find that type of movie on Netflix anyway. But so it's a very specific reason. So I travel a lot, fly a lot. I don't really like flying, but in particular the takeoff, And once I get past that, it's fine. I'm fine. Everything's sorted. But it's that feeling of like, oh God, we're defying physics here. This is not natural, blah, blah, blah. So it's all about distraction. So the headphones go in, Netflix comes on, and I'm just, and it could be any movie. It could be anything. It could be Hallmark, Christmas, whatever, or, critically acclaimed Oscar.
We have a weird one up at HD. She's watching Home Alone in June.
Exactly. Okay. It's all about distraction. So
have to go back to your first comment as to why. Is it because you are thinking about the science?
The science.
Is it?
Yeah.
You see, this is a great thing about not really being an engineer like me, is I don't know what the science is.
Oh, no, I don't. I'm not an engineer either.
So I'm not overly.
But I know gravity.
Okay. Okay, but I like to hear when I hear people say, Bumblebee actually shouldn't be able to fly. That's and you hear all this thing about nature and all this, but its wings are too small and this. But what happens then when you're up in the air? I mean, surely there's longer to go when you're up in the air. Is it just like what is it? Is it the shaking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's when the plane has leveled off, I'm like, we're fine. And it's just something in my head. Like it's just
Okay.
that's it.
I think it's a bit like when Spielberg made Jaws. We all got afraid of sharks, even though sharks only kill 5 or 10 people a year, and little tsetse fly mosquito kills 500 million or something. Too many movies are always in the takeoff bit and the
Yeah, and the clips on YouTube. Yeah.
Clips on YouTube. Yeah, you don't want to go to YouTube because you might come across something about a plane taking off, and okay.
Exactly.
And would you? Okay, and would you ever watch Netflix outside of this particular period of time?
No, I do. Yeah, in fairness, when I get time. And it's great when you're traveling and you're in a hotel room,
Yeah. So number 2, what's the second one?
Number 2 is probably Spotify. So before I moved to lovely Meath, lovely rural Meath, I lived in Portobello in the centre of Dublin. And myself and my roommates used to frequent Queenan's on a regular basis for gigs, live music, etc. Great spot to go.
Yeah.
So, and I was probably fairly clued in what was going on, and gigs happen and stuff like that. And then, life moves on and you're kind of living in rural Meath, etc.
Yeah.
So literally the only way I can stay relevant is by having a family plan on Spotify, pretty much.
But you're on it because music is just amazing to bring you back into different times in your life and different emotions. And what I love about Spotify is you find one song of a certain genre that you like, and it makes recommendations of other artists.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And what I do is just go into the, whatever the kids are listening to and be like, oh, right, okay, that's what we're about these days. Like, Childish Gambino and
I know every expletive from Post Malone going back to his first album at this stage, and it's but to your point, it does keep you in tune too with the relevant beats, because how many are there? There are only 12 notes.
Yeah.
And every generation, I've said it on this show many times, every generation thinks they've invented music.
Yeah, it's true.
But it also acts as this catalyst. Let's agree we all love music, and then we can fight over the different genres.
Yeah, and also, great podcasts as well for, again, the distraction and it's all about distracting Ailish,
Yeah, but don't go on to the 40 worst aviation disasters.
No,
that wouldn't be the one for you. What's the third?
The third is probably Google Maps. I know that's a bit general, like it's a bit sort of general, but again, it's back to I think if I went back into my search history, the top thing by miles would be nice food to eat near me. That that would be it, or good coffee near me, because that would be it. That would be over everything, over work stuff, over everything, because when you're traveling and you just want a good coffee or you just want something nice to eat. So that's very, I'm like good places to eat, really enjoy eating out, etc. So that's really important to me. But the second thing I love about it is, when you get into the Google reviews, and you're finding these random Google reviews, like Amy and Hull 1-star review because and it's like I'd give you more if you were open when I wanted to book, it's something like that. Like it's just a free for all, like and it's just like I love it. I love reading the random reviews.
You and my wife would get on so well. She goes into TripAdvisor and she howls at some of the reasons why people went from a 3 to a 1 to a 5.
Yeah, it was too hot. Spain was too hot.
Yeah, the plane flew too high.
Mm,
But you're spot on, because there seems to be a stage where we're at the moment. Maybe there's always a stage where you're not allowed to have an opinion. You have to be entrenched on it. There has to be, you're either black or white, you're either red or blue, you know. And actually, it's probably only by reading voyeur like, or
yeah,
is that a word? Where you start to really understand human nature is people are bizarre as to what they
bizarre.
bizarre. It's just a big mashup like an Irish stew. And you're standing beside these people and they may look like you, they may even bleed like you, but they're not you. They don't.
Yeah,
Because to your point, I mean, I hate this hotel because Spain is too hot.
yeah, yeah,
That's a
exactly.
classic. I will rob that one, by the way.
Yeah, and you just like, people have actually taken time out of their day to go out of their way to say their opinion. It's not just, off the cuff or to
I
speak to a
know.
manager thing. It's like
I
tips,
know.
yeah. So like, yeah, sometimes I get quite deep into the Google reviews. So
Okay. Okay.
I
So
don't know I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
let's bring you to a philosophical place, right? So you've got everybody's attention in the bar. They're all looking at Ailish and they're looking for words of wisdom, a quote.
You might be looking for a long time for words of
They're all
wisdom.
no, but in fairness, you did say it's a quintessential. You walk into a pub like this, and it's, what did you say? It's like having,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Everyone is on puppets on a string. So that it's like the door is attached to the string. So it's like you open the door and the heads go around,
right.
yeah.
So you
So what
walk
do I
in.
say?
So walk, so you walk in, and all the heads go towards you, and you're just gonna kill them with something. You're gonna slay them with this thing. What is it? A quote.
My quote of the day. So it's a Mark Twain quote. Um and I don't know why, it's just kind of, I guess it's relevant to this time of year because it's I think we all feel a bit sort of, I don't know, the come down after Christmas, it's long days and just it's a bit of a drudgery for everyone. And its quote is, there's nothing sadder than a young pessimist except for an old pessimist.
Right. Let's think about that for a second. I think so.
So, and I'm not saying it like directly quote, I can't
No.
remember. There's no sadder sight than a young
Yeah.
person, pessimist, rather than except for an old pessimist.
Yeah.
So I think it's sad. I think it's really sad to see young people who are young who are pessimistic about life and can't see a way forward and etc. etc. But you've gotta at some stage in your life, just because we're all heading to the same place. We're
A
all,
jar. A jar up there.
your jar up there. Yeah, exactly. Um, so, to be pessimistic in your old age, getting towards your old age, I mean, there's nothing sadder than that, really. And
You're,
people who live with sort of resentments and, it just eats you up, doesn't it?
it does eat you up. But
Yeah.
there's a funny old thing about human nature, and even it's reflected in the media and stuff. If it bleeds, it leads. When was the last time you saw a front page that said "Boy saved from drowning in Brayhead" by other 14-year-old?
Yeah.
Never.
Mm.
You'll only ever see "Boy drowns"
Yeah. Yeah.
front page. I think
Yeah.
I'm always drawn to the Einstein comment about, he used to start each of his year in university by getting a chalkboard and going, 1 by 1 is 1, all the way down to 1 by 100 is 100, and he'd make one mistake by mistake. By design, he'd make one mistake, and he'd turn around, and they'd all have their hands up, and they'd all be saying 1 by 67 is 68 is wrong. He said, "Why aren't you telling me and applauding me for getting 99 of them right?"
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
It's just that whole
Not wait to point out the flaw.
the one, and actually the one, and he obviously was able to articulate and wrap them around. But 1% of anything is negligible
Mm.
in the main, right? Except if you're on the plane, that's the 1%, the one that doesn't make it up. But I didn't want to put that into your mind.
No, don't, please. It's
No,
okay. Netflix to
no,
see
but it
through
is
it.
funny. Here's a funny old thing, right? Back in the day, well before you were involved in digital infrastructure, I'm sure, there used to be massive amounts of people saying 99.99% availability of
Mm.
the asset, right? And I often thought, imagine if the captain of the plane before you took off used to say, we have a 99.999999% chance of landing. Right? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, exactly. That's me. I'm the
I am the
0.001%.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, and I suppose it is case in point about what we, and it's joining a couple of the things up is that, you possibly are more likely to get hit by a crow outside than you are.
Yeah, or look in your own car by, I don't know
But
how
you
many times.
just can't get it out of your brain.
It's the
So,
lack of control as well, probably.
well, I was going to bring that up. Like, is that the real thing? If you were
Maybe.
flying the plane, would you feel better?
Would I? Probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Like, what do you like as a passenger if your partner is driving or if you're with a friend?
Uh, yeah. It is a funny thing because I drive quite fast, but I don't like to be in a car with someone who's driving fast. So I am a bit of the foot on the ground, mimicking yeah,
There you
mimicking
go.
the brake.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, at your next visit to your psychiatrist,
Are you saying I need one?
you can say you found this particular interpretation. So, teach me something. We're just about finished our coffees and your tea.
Yes.
Johnny is about to shift, so we're all going to have to move. Teach me something in the next 60 seconds that I don't know about Ailish.
Oh, it has to be about me. Oh, I thought it was
Oh,
just
well, about your universe.
well, actually, cause it's actually a fact. No, actually, I don't know if it is a fact. I was talking to someone recently about rituals and traditions and how they carry on and things like that. So, did you know that when a judge signs a death sentence, he breaks the nib of the pen after he signs it? And the reason for that, it's going back, hundreds and hundreds of years and very sort of ritualistic and, tradition based, but it's supposed to be around the fact that, the pen shouldn't be used again to take someone else's life.
Hmm.
Sorry, this is turning a bit pessimistic.
No, no, but you know what? We walk around thinking we know stuff and we know nothing, do we really?
Yeah. So it's just a
And
little fact.
how, this is the interesting question, how does a young woman like you stumble across that particular piece of information?
Yeah, again, I was just having a conversation with someone about kind of traditionals, rituals, things like that, and that was just one that stuck. It stuck in my head. I think it's quirky, it's funny
But
that lasted.
you know what it is though? It's interesting stuff. Do you know the way random stuff you don't get to read or see anymore because we're going very narrow and very deep via our apps into our world.
Yeah,
It's one of the main reasons why every Saturday I buy a local paper, and it's just a randomness of stuff. Biggest carp cut off Bray Head. Lady grows largest sunflower ever in Wicklow. You know, this randomness of
yeah,
stuff. And you find, I do anyway, I weave some of those stories into discussions with people because they're all, and you find reasons
yeah,
to weave it in. And actually, people come back to you afterwards and say, I'm going to do that. That's a great idea.
yeah. We
Because
see traditions and rituals set us apart from like the digital world. The fact that it's even like a physical pen. It's the act of breaking. Because it's such a it's the
yeah,
death sentence, such a final thing as well. It's like so it's really
it's tangible.
yeah.
Yeah. And isn't it really interesting? My mom, God bless her, she used to have this fascinating about sayings. Interesting,
Mm.
did we say that? So she, one that I remember that she told me, which sort of ties into where we are and what you're saying, was in Dublin Castle, you'd be told, right, go to the gallows down on Dame Street, I think, or whatever, back in the day. And you know that saying, one for the road or you're on the wagon?
Mm, mm.
What that was you were taken from the forecourt, hang that man. You stopped at the local one of the pubs, and the man that owned the pub will come on. Are you on the wagon, or do you want one for the road?
Right.
Meaning, do you want one for the road when you're getting hung, or are you want to stay on the wagon? So that's where these come from, and it's interesting because it also then you lean into the history of the times.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Exactly.
so okay.
And it's a big deal, you know. You know, I'd hate to see all those things fade out, like, yeah,
Yeah.
because these, like we're talking about digital spaces and things like that. Things like that can't be captured really in it.
Do you know, you're after bringing up something that's so interesting. It's language, words.
Language, yeah.
Language and words do matter. And I see with my own children who are in the 14 and 19 bracket. And genuinely, if I close my eyes and I listen to them, they're the same as California kids, same as Brisbane kids, they're the same as Cape Town kids. There's a new language, and we don't use one for the road anymore. It's slash and slay and bash and
I know.
but maybe
we feel it's so embedded in us, our little colloquialisms and things like that.
It does come back out though, Ailish. I mean, I'm absolutely positive that irrespective of where you've been in the world, if you went to that pub right there and you were talking to some people from the local, by the time you come out an hour later, you're talking with their lilt or their inflections and stuff.
Agree.
And I think that's knowing that sometimes I live, as I say, in Enniskerry, and when I go through the scalp psychologically, I have no idea why, no idea. Everything behind me just goes away.
Yeah, that's great.
Everything. It's just psychological thing.
What a great feeling.
It is. And it's been a great to chat to you.
You too, Gary.
In Cowles with Johnny and his mates up there on the shelf. You've covered pessimism. You've covered fear. You've covered all sorts of wonderful things that we wouldn't have known before. We just thought you were a brilliant data center person. Aha! Now we know you're a great person.
Thank you. That's kind.
Thanks a million.
Cheers. Cheers, Gary. Bye.
Bye.